Amazing audience, we are live with the amazing Marc Raco. Marc is with MouthMedia Network. Let me do say that we are now recording from MouthMedia Network studios in New York. You should check out a great show about the podcast industry called Mouth Podcasts. Word from the Mouth. The Word from Mouth. Yeah, on iTunes at mouthpodcast.com and wherever the best podcasts are found. Marc Raco, how are you, my friend?
How are you, man? Good to see you in
excellent.
person.
Well, my friend, you know the 12-minute convos with Angel Jones has been amazing, right? And one of the things I do is ask a templated format questions on that podcast, and I get to do that with you live today, right?
Wow.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
right?
get the whole like body language and everything.
Exactly, right? It's like there's no playing here, right?
No one can give me the answers.
Well, do tell me, Marc, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time and space in life?
Well, I believe it probably had to do with podcasting and being a storyteller.
Yeah.
That would be it. That's really been my path through most of my life, from being a student in film school to being a filmmaker, an actor, a songwriter, and now a podcaster. It's been all the same thing, really telling my stories and telling the stories of others.
What's the name of your podcast?
Well, I'm the head of content and programming for MouthMedia Network.
Right.
So we have 15 podcasts. And we produce 13 of them in-house. I'm responsible for those 13. I oversee the production and personally produce several of them. The first podcast that I was on, from which we built much of this network, is called Fashion is Your Business. And frankly, even if you're not interested in the fashion industry, it really doesn't matter. We don't really talk about fashion. We talk about business and e-commerce and artificial intelligence and business strategy and how marketing and how to connect with people.
Yeah, the principles of business.
In one of the largest industries in America.
Yeah, you could take that and just implement it. Who did you learn the skill of quality from, if you would? Because doing what you're doing via so many mediums, right? Quality is important. Yeah. Who did you learn that skill from?
That's an interesting question. I mean, I like to say that my parents put a good work ethic into me, and I should credit them. But I think it really has to do with, and it's always been important to me in my life to be authentic. I actually think one of my failings, believe it or not, is in communication, that I so want the full story to be told. I want the complete job to be done. It's not about the most efficient communication, it's about the entire communication. This doesn't always work for people. Some people need the most efficient communication. Type A people, for example. So sometimes it feels like I'm not communicating efficiently. But to me, if I haven't covered every inch of the real estate of that conversation, of that story, it hasn't been a complete and authentic job. So everything in my life, I think, drives from making sure that I don't regret where I've been before I move on.
Wow. That's amazing.
Because otherwise, it's a life of almosts.
And could-haves.
And could-haves. Instead of a life of, well, look what I did. And I'd rather have a life of 2 look what I dids that really lasted and counted and made impact than 100 things.
I love that. Ooh, that's powerful, amazing audience. Why will you continue to repeat the skill in spite of the challenges that you may encounter right? Because definitely you're going to encounter challenges.
No question.
With that, right?
No question.
Why will you continue?
Why would I continue
to repeat the skill of seeking after
despite the challenges?
Yes.
I think off the top of my head, there's two answers to that. It's a great question. One, what else is there to do? So let's say I give up and stop. Then what? What do? Do I sit on the street? Do I sit back and relax and wait for the seconds of my life to take away until they're done? Or do I continue to drive forward, and just because I got blocked from this door doesn't mean I stand for the rest of my life in front of a closed door. I turn and I move on to try to find another door. So my life has been, I think, I never really thought about this sort of concretely, but I think my life has been about going to a door and saying, can I open this? Can I walk through? And in most cases, to some degree, I've been able to find a way to open it, walk through, and say, all right, I can do that.
Yeah.
I do matter. I do count. I do have capability. I am valid. It's about validation, I think.
Yeah.
And then you move on to the next door. Now, I could hypothetically stay at that doorstep, move in, and that's where I live forever.
Yeah.
But I've been about going there, proving myself, and then moving on to another thing. I've often said in the past, to me, two things. One is, to me, there's my goal in life, a goal in life, is at the end of my life to have an epitaph that is so tall you can't even read everything on it, because I achieved, at least in some small measure, so many different types of me that I could be.
That's beautiful. Thank
you. And then the other thing is I really, really don't want to be, well, I would like to be an old man, but I don't want to be an old man that in his last breath looks back and say, I could have totally done that, and I just, it's okay if it didn't occur. It's okay if it didn't occur to me. It just isn't okay if I said, I don't think I can do that. So if I ever decided I wanted to do something that's implausible, like run for office, I don't want to do that right now, but let's say I did, it would be unacceptable for someone to say, you can't do that. That would actually be the main reason I would do it, is that if someone challenged me that I can't. So many things, including podcasting, I have actually undertaken specifically and purposefully because I kind of had no business doing it. So I'm like, good, I'll do it.
You went against the grain.
Yeah, I love taking on. I love taking on impossible things.
Tell me one other thing you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
I wish I could think of more. I'm not sure this is the perfect answer, but I also don't want to sit here during our brief time together and have a long period of silence as I think of the perfect answer. But one thing I'll say is that I do make a point of trying to let people know that they matter and that I care about them.
How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel good about myself, but that isn't why I do it. It makes me feel, because it's interesting. Let's say that you help someone out, a homeless person out. Whether you did it because it was selfless and you didn't care about the way it made you feel, but you still helped them, then the value is that you helped them. If you helped them, but you only did it to feel good about yourself, that's not as pure, but you still helped them. So there still was that. So for me, the fact that I feel good about it, I don't think is where the main value is, though. The main value is that I think too often people walk around without proper recognition of the amazingness that they do and the amazing person that they are. And I believe that if you actually do take note of it, it is very, very important to share that.
Yeah.
I make sure to tell my fiance that I love her every day, not because I'm feeding the relationship, not because that's what fiancés do or whatever. It's because she deserves to hear it.
Yeah.
And if I'm not going to tell her every day, who in her life is going to tell her that every day?
I love that. Yeah, that's why I use the word amazing so much. My mother was listening to these conversations, right? And she's like my biggest fan, right? And she was telling me, Angel, you need to expand your vocabulary. Stop using amazing, right? No, she's saying I need to use more words. She knows I have an expanded vocabulary, right?
Yeah.
So,
You speak very good English.
I appreciate that. But then I told her, I said, yeah, but I'm going to brand the word amazing because the people I'm speaking to, they are amazing. And I will repeat that. And I will repeat that.
So
and you said
valid.
that. You said amazingness. The people that they are doing amazingness, right? it happens. All right. So
and define amazing, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, but let's think about that. What is amazing? It depends on. So what I mean is, there is no marker somewhere that you have to achieve that level to qualify as amazing.
That's amazing.
Amazing is like art. It's different and it means different things to different people. Exactly. So if it could be as simple that someone never does anything amazing, but somehow they always seem to manage, no matter what's going on in their life, to have dinner ready for you. Or no matter how hard their life is, they always seem to somehow put a smile on, even if they're unhappy inside, because they know it matters to the people around them.
That is amazing.
To me, that's amazing.
To me, that
okay,
is
you don't have to build a skyscraper or cure cancer or get a #1 hit or do a world athletic record to be amazing. Amazing is relative to the challenges that are put to you.
Agree. I love that. Folks, it's challenging to keep this guy to 12 minutes because he is really amazing. Let's switch gears, my friend. Let's switch gears. Let's switch gears and let me invite you into my imaginary time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water.
I'm in.
Mark, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Well, I think I remember what I told you last time that we had an interview, so I'm going to not say the same thing. But I remember one of my earliest memories for sure. I came home from school and there was a comic book on my bed. I was pretty young. I think I was in grade school or middle school, but I was young. Now, it's such a simple thing, but I asked my mother why she had done that, and she said, because I saw it and I thought you would enjoy it. And I remember this so much because it was such a simple thing, but it stuck with me. What an impact it made to me that while my mother was out doing her daily chores or grocery shopping or whatever she was doing, she saw something and bought it and gave it to me and surprised me with it, so I would go up and find it, simply because of the pleasure she knew that it would give me. There was no practical application to the growth of me as a human being. There was no skill or some school project this was satisfying. And I've thought about that a lot. One of the most important qualities to me in a romantic partner, and my fiance is this way, is those moments of selflessness where you do something purely and only because you know it will enrich someone else's life, and that is it. And to me, that is a quality that unfortunately is not in everybody.
But fortunately is here.
Yes.
So
I remember that.
Yeah, I love that. How old were you?
Under 10, but I don't remember exactly how old.
Connect the memory to who you are today, please.
I think I just did that. But as a follow-up, I do make sure, even in the work that I'm doing with MouthMedia, that when I work with guests and I work with hosts, that there are little moments in which I validate them, and and maybe I'll do something for them that, for example, there were a couple of hosts that where I had bought a couple of nutrition bars for myself earlier in the day. They were for me, my money, but they were hungry. And they're both wealthy, so it was not like they couldn't have bought their own thing, but they came unprepared. And they were both complaining that they were losing their energy. So I dug into and I gave them my bars, which means I didn't have anything myself to eat. But I knew, look, this was no great gift. I didn't do something selfless here. My point is, though, is that I knew to them that small gesture meant a lot to them that day. And that's, to me, not to overstate it, but I'm saying a little moment like that, I try to keep in mind, because they didn't have to know I had bars. I could say, I'm so sorry, we'll try to finish, make time for you to eat. But, yeah.
That's amazing. All right, my friend. Well, let's switch gears for a moment. Now let me invite you. I said that already. Someone came in, took my head out, took my mind off of my questions.
So we're in the time machine.
We're in the time machine.
We're
about to leave,
how old
right?
I was,
Yes.
and how that connects to today.
Right.
See, that's the producer of me. I'm catching you back up.
All right. Before you leave this machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, man.
Do you have children?
No.
Are you married? Fiance?
No, but I will be.
Yeah. Cool. Do you believe in God?
I don't believe in the man with the white beard, but I do believe that there is something beyond biological.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Kind of.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yeah.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer?
Way too much
More than
all
8?
day.
Yeah?
Yeah, probably.
If you had to share with us, Mark, your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who Marc Raco is, what would you say that is?
Everyone's a schmo.
I love it.
It means, and what I mean by that is that everyone puts their pants on the same way. I don't care who you are, where you're from. Everyone has the same concerns in life. Everything roots from the same place. You're president of the United States. You're a big actor or entertainer. You're a teenager in the Midwest. Everyone picks their nose. Everyone
uses the toilet.
Everyone hates certain things and likes certain things that they eat. They want to be loved. They want value. All these things, even evil people, share those same things. And I believe that embracing this philosophy helps us remember the value that we have, because nobody is more exceptional than we are. Is only what we choose to do with the exceptional us. That is the difference between me and that person. Even if we literally are given God-given different levels of biological intelligence, brain power, or economic circumstances, to me the difference between the guy that comes out of the hood and makes himself a success versus the criminal in the hood that chooses to embrace destitution or illegal activities is only, it's the choices they make given the circumstances they are forced into. But we're still all schmoes. Came from the same thing, a sperm and an egg together, and I do live my life under that principle, because there's nobody I look up to in terms of them just being by definition greater than me. They simply may have applied themselves more than I did, which means I could apply myself more.
Love it. Mark, this was a great pleasure, my friend. Before we leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I would just like to say two things. One is I would invite you to check out the kinds of conversations we're having on MouthMedia Network. You can go to mouthmedianetwork.com, and we have all sorts of different kinds of a lot of conversations that I'm sure there's something for you, whether you're a working mom, someone who believes in spirituality, you're part of a lifestyle industry. It's worth a check. And the second thing I would like is check out more interviews with this guy, because you're doing something important.
I appreciate
giving
it.
people a chance to share their story and to show that each of these people is in their own way, as you said.
Yeah, unique.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing, baby. I love it. Marc Raco, thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-minute convos with Angel Jones. Thanks for the space, my friend. Love it.
You bet it, man.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Boom.
Thank you.